Hello guys and welcome to another Macho Luco video, and this time we're talking about Alexander Grant, who went missing in Saratoga, New York State on March 6th, 2011. So guys, the reason I'm kind of zeroing in on these cases here is that the similarities are so chilling that even when I first read them, I admit I didn't first get how similar everything about these cases is. However, after spending a few years researching this topic and looking at cases from before, like from very old cases, and now cases from that are just a few weeks old, I've realized that time passes, technology passes. There's a lot of things that change, but this phenomena that has been brought to light by the great work of David Paulides, for the most part, and other people, does not change. And what, as you probably have heard me say before, what it suggests is that there's something either extremely non-human that is responsible, or there's some secrets that have been held from us for hundreds of years that are still active and are responsible for some of these very disturbing cases. So Alexander Grant was a 19-year-old exceptional student from Saratoga Springs. He was he graduated with honors from Briarcliff High School in New York, and he was enrolled in college at Boston College and majored in economics. And he had an internship for 3 years at a financial advisory firm, so he was doing really well. He was further interested in furthering himself. He volunteered a lot of his time for Meals on Wheels, Doctors Without Borders, and the Robin Hood Foundation. And he was just a great guy. He played keyboard for a band called the Jays. He was just a great guy. Like he was not the kind of guy that would, sit around and play video games all day, right? He was just a guy that was a go-getter and was a awesome member of the campus and the community. So on March 5th, 2011, Alexander drove to Saratoga to visit a friend called Michael Perlow. And he picked up Michael just before 8:30 p.m. And the two of them headed down to the dormitories, and they hung out, had some beer, hung out, and then at about 10:30 they took a bus to go downtown. And from there, when the bus dropped them off, they went to a party at 146 Church Street. And at this party, he was last seen dancing with a lady, roughly any time between 11 and 11:30. At a house party, it's really difficult to get some reliable eyewitness and time accounts, but that was the best to the people's ability of to remember what happened. They said, yeah, between 11 and 11:30, we saw him dancing with some girl, and then he just kind of moved on to a different part of the house. We lost track of him, and this is again what happens a lot, right? In these cases, like he was there, yeah, we saw him, and this is scary because this even happens in pubs and restaurants. But yeah, he was just there, and then we don't know what happened. Luckily, we do have some evidence that helped us in this case. At 11:30 p.m., Alexander is seen on video surveillance on Station Lane off of West Avenue in Saratoga Springs, walking near the front of a building, and he was described as walking in a staggering way, like not, in full, balanced control of his body. So obviously by this point he was either very drunk or at least acting like he was, right? Because he wasn't walking in the same way he would be just earlier at the party. People were not saying he was stumbling at the house party before he left. So at about 11:34 p.m., that video ends. His appearance on the video ends. However, before he leaves the frame, he's seen walking towards the railroad tracks, towards the Church Street overpass over the highway. And there was, we don't know what happened to him for about 2 hours. And then at about 1:30 a.m., we do have more video footage from a different camera. And this was a security camera at 3 Kerr Lane. This is a cul-de-sac, as you see on the map, a dead-end road. And this was an office building. And in the video footage, you can see squeezing through, first of all, breaking a window through a door and then squeezing through that window, glass window, basically hurting himself because there was glass still, jutting out, and bleeding on video, but not profusely, not so much to where he was passing out or standing in a pool of his own blood. But he got hurt, obviously entering the warm office, and we can only assume he did that because he was cold and he needed a place to warm up, because this is a March night in New York, so not a warm one, guys. And but this is important though, because in this video footage, he's clearly seen wearing only one sock, long sleeve shirt and shorts, and no coat, right? No coat, no pants, no shoes, and his other sock is missing. So, and I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold, guys. So please forgive my voice. It's a little off today, I gotta admit. So as he enters this building at 1:30, he's also seen leaving on video footage at 2:11, and this makes no sense, guys. Even if a guy or anybody is intoxicated, if you just had some time to warm up, and you are bleeding, and you know that you've caused some damage to some private property, yes, you might want to leave in terms of you want to get out of the quote-unquote scene of the crime. But this is Alexander. This kind of behavior was very much not like him. And what's crazy is he could see through the windows that the weather was getting worse. Like there was sleet coming in, and the weather was getting worse during the time he left the building. So it made no sense for him to leave and not go anywhere safe, because that did not happen. He went off, and we don't know what happened to him in those next few hours, right? Anyway, obviously, but he did not return home. So on March 6th, the police started a search, and they scoured that whole area, and they also got a phone call from the office in the morning of the 6th saying, hey, looks like someone broke in here. And they put 2 and 2 together after watching the video that, hey, this guy's missing, Alexander, and we see him on video. And so that's, they said, okay, this is where he was at 2:11 a.m. Okay. But, they couldn't locate him, right? They figured, well, he was stumbling and bloody, so how far could he get, right, from in a very cold setting? So they, firefighters and police scoured the area within half a mile of the building, and one of the search groups did find Alexander's pants and wallet on a snowbank between the Kerr Lane and the railroad tracks. All right. So that at least was another piece of evidence. But they also found a set of tracks that led towards Putnam Creek, and so north of the building, of the last building he was seen in. These tracks were followed by a visual search of the creek, and there was nothing in that creek. They could not see anything. And they expanded the search on the 7th. They went back and they scoured the area, and they found nothing. On the 8th of March, the Saratoga Springs Fire Department found his body in 4 feet of water. Not 40, not 14, 4 feet of creek water. In other words, if only Alexander were to stand up, he would be fine. He wouldn't be in the water, right? he would be able to breathe. He was held in place by some wood, some branches, and some thin ice. And this was only a few feet away from where an original trackway that was studied before by the searchers was found. So in other words, guys, once again, I don't believe for a second that the searchers, the police, the fire department, that they just missed him, right? That they say, well, we didn't look hard enough. No, guys. These guys, they scoured that area. Okay. So once again, it seems like on the morning of the 6th, Alexander was either taken or went somewhere. He was either held against his will or hid somewhere. And then on the 8th, he came back and he was deceased. That's what the evidence seems to suggest. Please tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. Because I do not believe for a second that dogs, canine searchers, missed his body in a shallow creek that was scoured for 2 whole days. Okay. So his blood alcohol level was reported at 0.11%. There was a second update to that at 0.16. I'm not sure why they decided to up that. Maybe it was a more accurate test, but we have no indication of why that was changed. And basically, again, guys, all of the friends and family said that this is very unusual behavior. Like, obviously, Alexander would go to parties before and have fun, but what they saw on the surveillance footage is very not like him. They failed to see why he was doing what he was doing, even with alcohol in his blood. Notice the missing clothing, right? That's happening too. And notice, if you look at the map that I've included, notice how many opportunities and how many buildings in that area would have helped him if he just kind of like hung around and would have just, without breaking his way in, he would have just, even there was a train station very close to there. If he was really disoriented in terms of not knowing where to go, he could have gone, there was a train station within 300-400 yards of him where he could have just used that for shelter and used the phone to call for help or just ask for help, right? So very unusual, guys. And again, a very, very promising young man, very good grades, very good outlook, lots to live for, lots to, he was just having a good night, guys. This was not excessive, right? No one at the party was complaining that, hey, Alexander's is stirring up the place and, oh, you should settle down, No. There was people having fun. If anything, the police said they were having problems of the other people at the party to get the volume down because the neighbors were complaining, right? So he wasn't the problem. Again, guys, it's so similar to the other cases, especially Jelani Branson in Anoka, Minnesota, right? So similar, guys. Please comment below, give your theories, give your hypotheses on what could have happened to Alexander Grant. And let's keep the conversation going. And thank you for joining me for this video. I will continue to show you and bring you cases that match this, and hopefully we'll get somewhere soon with putting a lot more focus on the subject. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.